Okay, so get this. SpaceX, Elon Musk's rocket company,
Right, right.
they're suing the California Coastal Commission
Haha.
because apparently it's gotten really hard to launch rockets in California.
Oh yeah. I read about this. Something about beach erosion.
That's what I thought. Like, what's a bunch of rocket scientists know about beach erosion?
Yeah.
But it turns out it's a whole lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, this is more than just like sandcastles versus spaceships.
Okay, so let's back up, break it down. We're looking at this article. SpaceX lawsuit claims rocket launches were blocked over Elon Musk's politics. We'll put a link in the show notes if you want to dive in yourself. But basically, SpaceX is saying the reason they're stuck on the ground is not about the environment at all.
This is where things get juicy.
It really does. So SpaceX wants to launch more rockets from Vandenberg Space Force Base,
Yeah.
right?
Which makes sense. That's kind of their thing.
Exactly. But to do that,
Yeah.
they need the Coastal Commission's approval. Standard procedure, you'd think?
Makes sense. Got to protect the coastline.
Right. But here's the catch. The commissions said no.
Oh.
And now SpaceX is claiming it's not because of any real environmental concerns, but because of politics.
Oh, this is about Elon Musk, isn't it?
Ding, ding, ding. We've got a winner. SpaceX is specifically calling out this commissioner, Gretchen Newsom. She's been pretty vocal in her criticism of Musk's, shall we say, interesting online presence.
Right. Which, fair.
Totally. But now SpaceX is saying those criticisms are proof that the commission's decision was biased against them,
See, this is tricky. It's one thing for a commissioner to have opinions. Everyone does.
especially these days.
Right. But to prove that those opinions actually swayed the entire commission's vote, that's a high bar, legally speaking.
Yeah, it'd be like trying to convince someone that your goldfish lost a swimming race on purpose.
Yeah.
Like maybe they just had an off day. Or maybe they're just not that fast.
Exactly. You'd need some serious evidence to prove otherwise. Like, I don't know, maybe the goldfish was bribed by the other team.
Okay, maybe not the best analogy, but you get the point. So let's say SpaceX somehow pulls a rabbit out of a hat and wins this thing. What happens then?
Well, it sets a huge E precedent. I mean, huge E. Think about it. Government agencies suddenly can't factor in a CEO's personal views when making decisions about their company.
Which, on the one hand, sounds like a win for free speech.
Right, exactly. But then flip that coin over. What about the environment? What about all those other things we regulate to keep people safe?
Suddenly, those regulations don't seem quite as powerful if they can be sidestepped because of, I don't know, a CEO's controversial tweet.
Exactly. It gets very messy very quickly.
So, not great for the environment, potentially. But what about the commission? What happens if they're the ones popping champagne?
Then we're talking about a whole other can of worms. Because if they win, it basically reinforces their authority to consider, well, pretty much anything they want when it comes to the coast.
So even a company's ethics, even if it's not directly related to their operations,
Potentially, yeah. Which, again, sounds good in theory. We want ethical companies. But where do you draw the line?
it's like that old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
Exactly. Because what's to stop another commission somewhere down the line from using this case as a reason to block any company with a CEO they don't like?
So it's a slippery slope.
Very slippery. And it really starts to feel like we're talking about more than just rockets and beaches here, doesn't it?
Right. It's about freedom of speech. It's about government overreach. It's about the power dynamics between corporations and the people meant to regulate them.
This case has it all.
And it really makes you think, in a world where CEOs are basically celebrities with huge platforms and influence.
Like it or not, that's the world we live in.
Exactly. So in that world, should their personal views really factor into how their companies are treated under the law? It's a tough question.
No easy answers with this one.
Nope. But definitely a lot to think about. That's the deep dive for you folks. Turns out the fight between SpaceX and the California Coastal Commission is about way more than meets the eye. What do you think? Hit us up on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. And until next time, keep asking those tough questions.